Let's chat.
It's always time to start building a better retirement, and here to help us do that is Mr. Morgan Hill of Hill & Hill Financial. Good morning,
Hey,
Morgan.
good morning, Jess.
Great
Good
to see you. All right, so we're going to just dive into a little bit about who and what you are. So tell me, who is Morgan Hill?
Yeah, well, Hill & Hill Financial, we started, gosh, it's been almost about 20 years ago. We're a full-service retirement planning firm. We help folks get, as we like to say, we help folks get to retirement, which is very exciting, but we also help them get through it, which can sometimes be a little bit tedious, and we really focus on a number of areas that people really need to zero in on when it comes to having a successful retirement.
And as part of that and helping people understand the key areas, you've written an excellent book.
Yeah, well, we like to think it was pretty good. A number of, first of all, as I said, we are just shy of about 20 years, and I've been in this business about 20 years. But what I found is there was a lot of incomplete conversations that were happening. Too often retirement sounds like we'll invest in this product or buy this product.
Right.
And what we found is the metaphor of building, like a home, is a little bit different than painting a bedroom. Building a home involves multiple things versus just one thing. And when I came out with the book, Building a Better Retirement, it really zeroes in on what we call the 4 pillars, kind of like load-bearing walls, the 4 pillars that everyone needs to really have taken care of to have a successful retirement.
Because retirement's not copy and paste for everyone.
Yeah, boy, it really isn't. And too often what we see is there's a lot of copy and paste. And so what we discovered is there are really 4 pillars, kind of load-bearing walls.
What are those 4 pillars?
Yeah, we found that given that we live in a universe now that most people won't get a pension, unfortunately, that's been replaced with 401ks or those types of IRAs. You got to make sure that your investments create income that you know for certain you're never going to run out of.
Right, that's going to last you.
That's going to last you. One of the biggest fears people have is, am I going to live longer than my money? Number 2 is risk. Well, 2 big ones, longevity, health care. Can I either manage or navigate the risks that take place in retirement? The 3rd is, how do you make sure those you love are going to get your stuff when you're done with it? We know it in a fancy term of estate planning, but when it all boils down is, how do I know who's going to get what I've worked a whole lifetime
How do
to
we make sure
get?
we're taking care of our family?
Yeah, and then finally is about tax. We work with a great team of CPAs in the area, but there's a lot of tax planning, not necessarily tax preparation. And so we make sure that all 4 of those things come together to really make sure that people have that retirement that they've been dreaming about for decades.
So in addition to focusing on these 4 pillars, what is another major difference between working, on your own towards retirement and working with an expert?
Yeah, I have a bias, and for those of you tuning in, I have a bias when it comes to this. First of all, I believe that in order to deal with retirement, folks should work with someone that's holistic. You should be having conversations about all 4 of these things versus just this tool or that mutual fund or this annuity. All fine tools, but it's kind of an incomplete conversation.
It's just a piece of the puzzle.
It's a piece of the puzzle. So one, work with folks that are holistic, that they do all of that work. And again, I think it should be done regardless of how much money one has, that you have that complete conversation. So holistic, also independent. Jess, there's so many opportunities out there, so many tools. There are wonderful organizations out there. Our firm has been independent from the beginning because there's so many possibilities. Let's not be bound by, I can only offer this or I can only do that.
Right.
So we think being holistic, independent, and then finally, among other things, I am what's called a fiduciary. I personally believe, and there's been a lot of conversation nationally about this, that folks should hold a license as a fiduciary, which means they put the client's interest above their own. And that's not just a platitude or a nice thing. That's actually a legal requirement. And we think that those are really what's critical. So as you're out doing what you're doing, folks tuning in, really look for those 3 things: holistic, independent, a licensed fiduciary, have a full conversation, and then folks can then decide.
Right.
What do I want to do? But they know that all the choices have been presented to them so they can have that retirement they've always dreamed about.
And I think it's important that we educate everyone of what we need to be looking for when we start to talk to someone about planning for our retirement and getting through retirement as well.
Yeah, I always joke about when I found out that the airline that I was flying on could give me cookies as well as pretzels and peanuts. I was just, oh my gosh, I get another
can have
choice.
them, yeah.
And then when they said you can have smoked almonds, I almost fainted. You want to make sure you know all of the choices, all of the options. And then let folks decide what they want to do and how they want to do it, but make sure that everyone knows, oh, I could have done this, I could have done that, and then people feel empowered, because at my heart, I'm a teacher, I'm an educator. Let people know how things work, what's available, all of the choices, and then they can decide how they want their retirement to be navigated rather than, well, I didn't know, and then I couldn't respond.
We don't know what we don't know. All right, how do we
Absolutely.
get started with you, Morgan?
Well, I believe on the screen you'll see a number. Our number here in Chattanooga is 423-855-0270. You certainly can go to hillandhillfinancial.com, but you can call that number if someone would like to have a complimentary, a no-cost, no-obligation consultation. And then certainly today, you call in, we'll be happy to send you a complimentary copy of the book by just dialing that number. You can also dial 800-887-9647. And for those first 10 callers, they'll get a complimentary copy of the book, and
Perfect.
we'd love to help.
All right, Morgan, thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you again here in just a few weeks.
Thanks, Jess.